Overview, definition, etiology, current classifications in ICD-10, DSM-5 and ICD-11. Individual disorders explained, pathological gambling, intermittent exposure disorder, kleptomania, pyromania, hypothalaminemia, and disruptive behavior and dissocial disorders, and impulse control disorders in patients with Parkinson's disease. In conclusion, impulsivity, it is inability to resist an intense impulse, drive or temptation to perform a particular act that is obviously harmful to self or others or both. Barrett distinguished three dimensions of impulse, that is motor, cognitive and non-planning. In motor, where there will be action without thinking, in cognitive, quick cognitive decision making dimension, and non-planning, where decrease in orientation towards the future will be seen. Pattern had contributed three factors contributing to impulsivity, that is acting on the spur of moment where motor activation is seen, and not focusing on the task at hand, inattentiveness, and not planning and thinking carefully, that is non-planning. Spectrums of impulsivity, where we will be seeing differences between impulsivity and compulsivity. Impulsivity has harm minimization, compulsivity has harm avoidance, where underestimation of the impulse is seen in impulsivity and overestimation will be seen in compulsivity, overestimation of the act. Pleasure seeking will be seen in impulsivity and pleasure avoiding will be seen in compulsivity. And here in impulsivity it is sensitive to the reward and insensitive to punishment, and in compulsivity it is insensitive to reward and sensitive to the punishment. Impulsivity, the acts will be too quickly done, and in compulsivity it will be done too slowly. The psychiatric disorders with impulsivity, personality disorders like ASPD and borderline personality disorder, and bipolar affective disorder, mania and depression, substance dependence, attention deficit hyperactivity disorders, conduct disorder, and impulse control disorders. Epidemiology, oppositional defiant disorder will be seen in around 3.3% of the total population, conduct disorder 4%, intermittent exposure disorder 2.7%, concomitant obsessive oppositional defiant disorder and conduct disorder both combined to be 3.5%, kleptomania 0.6%. Pyromania has proven rarer than its other impulse control disorders than its counterparts, but only 3% meet the criteria for pyromania who were incarcerated for arson. Etiology, the psychodynamic factors contributing. August describes impulsive behavior as related to a weak superego and weak ego structures associated with psychic trauma produced by childhood deprivation. And Otto linked the impulse behavior to attempts to master anxiety, guilt, depression, and other painful effects by means of action. He is considered to be related to incomplete sense of self. The psychosocial factors related to early life events from the childhood, and improper models for identification, such as parents who had difficulty controlling impulses, and the childhood exposure to violence in the home, alcohol abuse, promiscuity, and antisocial behavior. Biological factors, there has been relation found between low cerebrospinal fluid levels of 5-HIAA and impulsive aggression, and high incidence of mixed cerebral dominance may be found in some violent populations. Considerable evidence indicates that serotonin neurotransmitter system mediates symptoms evident in impulse control disorders. Brainstem and CSF levels of 5-HIAA are decreased, and the serotonin binding sites are increased in persons who have committed suicide. Here we can see the relation between substance use disorders and impulse control disorders, where in both there will be compulsivity. Before the act, after the act there will be relief, and while in abstinence, staying away from the substance or staying away from doing the act, there will be negative effects like distress, and in substance abuse there will be withdrawal features leading to craving and tension arousal, and then leading to performance of the act again for relief and pleasure. Classifications, according to ICD-10, habit and impulse control disorders comes under disorders of adult personality and behavior. Disorders included in habit and impulse disorders are pathological gambling, pathological file setting, pathological stealing, hypothalaminemia, and other habit and impulse disorders. Habit and impulse disorders unspecified. According to ICD-11, impulse control disorders we are grouped under impulse control disorders, grouped under as intermittent explosive disorder, kleptomania, pyromania, compulsive sexual behavior disorders. In ICD-10, compulsive sexual behavior disorders has been named as excessive sexual drive, and addictive behavior disorders like pathological gambling and gaming disorders are grouped under disorders due to addictive behavior. Changes from DSM-4 to DSM-5, where in DSM-4 it has oppositional defined disorder, conduct disorder and disruptive behavior disorder grouped under disorders usually first diagnosed in infancy, childhood or adolescence, and intermittent explosive disorder, pyromania and kleptomania were grouped under impulse control disorders not otherwise specified. In DSM-5 they were clubbed together and included under disruptive impulse control and conduct disorders. These were the common problems These were common problems with the disruption in emotional and behavioral self-control. Antisocial personality disorder has dual listing in this chapter and also included in personality disorders due to its close association with conduct disorder. Substance-related disorders chapter has been expanded to include the gambling disorder as it comes under addictive behavior. Neurobiology of impulse control disorder. Neuroanatomical structures like prefrontal cortex, nucleus accumbens, and ventral tegment area are involved in this neurobiology, where lesions in nucleus accumbens causes hyperactivity and impulsivity in delayed discounting tasks, and the lesions in the amygdala causes impaired decision making and increased impulsive choices, and lesions in the anterior cingulate causes increased motor activity, over responding to the situations, and assessment of response effort, defect in assessment of response effort. And lesions in prefrontal cortex has disorders in assessment of reward value and central evaluator, where there will be no breaks, and somatic marker hypothesis, and similar performances are seen in drug abuse, ADHD, and impaired gambling tasks, delayed discounting tasks, and gono tasks. The neurochemicals involved are serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, where in serotonin decreased levels of CSF serotonin levels is seen in suicide, personality disorders, excessive gamblers, and impulsive aggression. And as the response with SSRIs, it can be concluded that serotonin is the cause for impulse control disorders. In dopamine, known to code for reward, promotion of motivational drives. Dopamine is known to code for reward, promotion of motivational drives, where it can be conformed with amphetamine use, where it decreases impulsivity in ADHD. It alters reinforcement patterns, like delayed rewards become more meaningful. And chronic meth users appears to have increased impulsivity. And noradrenergic deficit states requires hyperarousal, and GABA deficit states have lack of proper inhibitory processes, and in opiate systems, improper control of rewarding process and regulatory mechanisms has been seen. In this image, we can see how adaptive behaviors are changed into addictive behaviors. Three pathways involved: limbic pathway, associative, and sensory motor. Where in limbic pathway, nucleus accumbens and ventral striatum has been involved, where there will be normal behavior, and in associative pathway there will be cues and reinforcement, and in sensory motor there will be addiction and habit formation. Due to higher activity of sensory motor system, addictive behaviors will be continued. Impulsive acts such as drug use, gambling, and overeating can eventually become compulsive due to neuroplastic changes that engage the dorsal habit system and theoretically causes impulses in the ventral loop to migrate to the dorsal loop, that is, in sensory motor loop. Individual disorders explained: pathological gambling. Here, it is characterized by persistent and recurrent maladaptive gambling that causes economic problems and significant disturbances in personal, social, or occupational functioning. Here we can see types of gambling like sports betting, betting on horse races, dog races, and cockfights, and gambling with casinos, and other types of gambling that involve some aspect of mental or physical skill. That is like games involving mental skills like playing cards, and physical skills like pool games and internet gambling, and types of gambling that largely involve chance, where it is seen in lottery tickets, gambling machines, and slot machines in casinos. Pathological gambling and substance abuse have following characteristics in common, where repetitive or compulsive engagement in a behavior despite adverse consequences, and diminished control over the problematic behavior, and urge or craving prior to the engagement in the behavior, and hedonic thrill when taking part in the behavior. These features have led to the description of pathological gambling as a behavioral addiction in DSM-5. In epidemiology, 3 to 5% of total gamblers in the general population, approx 1% meet the criteria. Seen in more in males than in females, younger adults are more addicted than older adults, and prevalence higher in individuals with substance use disorders. Comorbid diseases like mood disorders, especially major depression and bipolarity, and comorbid substance use and addictive disorders, and other personality disorders, notably narcissistic, antisocial, and borderline personality, and disruptive impulse control and conduct disorders as comorbidities is seen in gambling. Etiology, psychosocial factors, where loss of parent by death, separation, divorce, or desertion before the child is 15 years of age, and inappropriate parental discipline, and exposure to and availability of gambling activities for the adolescents, and family emphasis on material and financial symbols, and lack of family emphasis on saving, planning, and budgeting. The biological factors include risk-taking behavior, subnormal 3-methoxy 4-hydroxyphenyl glycol concentrations in the plasma, and increased 3-methoxy 4-hydroxyphenyl glycol concentrations in the CSF, increased urinary output of norepinephrine, and serotonergic regulatory dysfunction leading to low monoamino oxidase activity. Criteria for diagnosis according to DSM-5: persistent and recurrent problematic gambling behavior leading to clinically significant impairment or distress. The following 4 or more criteria should be present for a period of 12 months, where the behavior like gamble with increased amounts of money in order to achieve the desired excitement, restless or irritable when attempting to cut down, repeated unsuccessful efforts to control, often preoccupied with gambling, gambles when feeling distressed, and chasing one's losses, lies to conceal the extent of involvement, and jeopardize the socio-occupational functions, relies on others to provide money to relieve their desperate financial situations, and the gambling behavior is not better explained by any many episodes. According to ICD-10, the persistently repeated gambling, which continues and often increases despite adverse social consequences such as impoverishment, impaired family relationships, and disruptions of family life and personal life. According to ICD-11, is a pattern of persistent or recurrent gambling behavior, which may be online or offline, where we can see impaired control over gambling, increased priority given to the gambling, and continuation or escalation of gambling despite of the negative consequences. Here the period has been given up to 12 months in order to diagnose. If it is severe, it can also be less than 12 months. Differential diagnosis can be taken as social gambling, where it occurs with friends, special occasions, or with predetermined acceptable and tolerable losses. Symptomatic of a manic episode, where marked mood change and loss of judgment preceding the gambling can be seen, and persons with antisocial personality disorder may have problems with the gambling. Course and prognosis begins in adolescence for men and late in life for women. 4 phases have been explained for the gambling addiction. like a winning phase where ending with a big win equal to it's like a big amount where it causes hooks the patient to the gambling, and in women usually do not have big win but use gambling as an escape from the problems. The next stage would be progressive loss phase where considerable risk, cash taking in securities, borrowing money and losing jobs can be seen, and the desperate phase where frenziedly gambling with large amounts of money and not paying debts. Next would be the hopeless stage where the person would be accepting that losses and the gambling continues because of the associated arousal or excitement. To come to the hopeless stage, it may take up to 15 years, and within a year or two, patient will be totally deteriorated. Management would be method of inspirational group therapy, like in Alcohol Anonymous, there is a group called as Gambling Anonymous, and patient's hospitalization may help remove patients from the gambling environment, so it might help the patients getting away from the addiction. And insult-oriented psychotherapy only can be started after the person staying away from gambling for around 3 months. Next would be the psychopharmacological treatment, where antidepressants like SSRIs and bupropion can be used. Mood stabilizers, including sustained release lithium, can be used. Anti-epileptics such as topiramate and atypical antipsychotics, and opioid agents such as naltrexone can be used for the management of gambling disorder. Next would be intermittent explosive disorder. Discrete episodes of losing control of aggressive impulses, which are grossly out of proportion to any stressors that help elicit the episodes. Patients show genuine regret or self-reproach after every episode, and there will be signs of generalized impulsivity. There will be no signs of generalized impulsivity or aggressiveness in between the two episodes. Epidemiology, more common in men than in women, and more in first degree biological relatives of persons with disorder than in the general population. Comorbid conditions like highly associated with pyromania and other disorders of impulse control, substance use and mood, anxiety and eating disorders are also being associated. Criteria according to DSM-5: recurrent behavioral outbursts representing a failure to control aggressive impulses as manifested by either of the following. One would be verbal or physical aggression, which doesn't cause any destruction or damage to the property or any animals, twice weekly on average for a period of 3 months, or 3 behavioral outbursts in a 12-month period involving damage or destruction to property or physical injury against animals or other individuals. Magnitude of aggressiveness would be grossly out of proportion to the provocation. And the recurrent aggressive outbursts are not premeditated and are not committed to achieve some tangible objective, that is money, power or intimidation, and cause either marked distress in the individual or impairment in occupational or interpersonal functioning. The chronological age should be at least 6 years to have this diagnosis. Differential diagnosis can be seen in conduct disorder, antisocial or borderline personality disorders, schizophrenia where patients show violent behaviors in response to delusions and hallucinations, and MO where acute violent behavior from which the person claims amnesia. With the presence of amnesia, we can differentiate MO from the intermittent exposure disorder. Course and prognosis, it may begin at any stage of life but usually appears between the adolescence and early adulthood. The disorder decreases in severity with the onset of middle age. Treatment, group psychotherapy and family therapy. Goal of therapy would be to help the patient recognize and verbalize the thoughts or feelings that precedes the explosive outburst instead of acting them out. Anticonvulsants like carbamazepine, valproate and phentoin can be helpful, and SSRIs has better outcomes. Kleptomania, it is a recurrent failure to resist impulses to steal objects not needed for personal use or that have any monetary value. Epidemiology, the prevalence is estimated around 0.6%. Male to female ratio is 1:3, where females are more than males. Comorbid conditions like high lifetime comorbid of affective disorders, but not exclusively depression, and various anxiety disorders, and other impulse control disorders like pathological gambling and compulsive shopping, eating and substance use disorders. Etiology. Anna Freud pointed out that the first steps from mother's purse indicate the degree to which all stealing is rooted. Carl Abraham has given that central feeling of being neglected, injured or unwanted. There are 7 categories of shielding in chronically acting out children as a means of restoring the lost mother-child relationship, as an aggressive act, as a defense against fears of being damaged, as a means of seeking punishment, as a means of restoring or adding to self-esteem, or in connection with as a reaction to a family secret, or as an excitement like lust, angst, and a substitute for a sexual act. One or more of these can apply to adult kleptomania too. Criteria for diagnosis. According to DSM-5, it is a recurrent failure to resist impulses to steal objects that are not needed for personal use or for their monetary value, an increasing sense of tension immediately before committing the theft, and pleasure, gratification or relief at the time of committing the theft. The stealing is not committed to express anger or vengeance and is not in response to a delusion or hallucination. And the stealing is not better explained by conduct disorder, manic episode, or antisocial personality disorder. Course and prognosis. Onset would be in late adolescence. Mean age would be 50 years and women would be 35 years. Course, it waxes and wanes but tends to be chronic. And the prognosis with treatment can be good, but few patients only come for help for this disorder. Treatment, SSRIs such as fluoxetine, fluoxamine appear to be effective in some patients. Naltrexone up to 145 mg per day has shown 76% reduction in urges over 3 years. CBT treatments such as systemic desensitization, aversion therapy, and covert sensitization have all been shown some benefits. Next disorder, pyromania. It's a recurrent, deliberate and purposeful setting of fires. A tension of affective arousal before setting of fires will be seen. Fascination with interest in, curiosity about or attraction to fire and the activities and equipment associated with firefighting can be seen. Pleasure, gratification or relief when setting fires or when witnessing or participating in the aftermath of the fire is seen in pyromania. Prevalence is unknown. Male to female ratio would be 8:1, where males are more than females, involved than females. And the comorbid conditions like substance abuse disorder, other impulse control disorders, personality disturbances like antisocial and borderline personality, attention deficit disorder and learning disabilities, and persons who set fires are more likely to be mildly retarded than those in the general population. Etiology. Psychosocial. Freud saw fire as a symbol of sexuality. He believed the warmth radiated by fire evokes the same sensation that accompanies a state of sexual excitation, and a flame's shape and movement suggests a palace in activity. Some patients with pyromania are voluntary firefighters who set fire to prove themselves as brave, and it is a way to vent accumulated rage over frustration caused by sense of social, physical or sexual inferiority. And one explanation of fire setting is that it represents a wish for the absent father to return home as a rescuer, to put out the fire and save the child from a difficult existence. Biological factors with low levels of CSF, serotonin and 3-methoxy-4-hydroxyphenol. It suggests possible serotonergic or adrenergic involvement. Criteria for diagnosis according to DSM-5, it is a deliberate and purposeful act, tension or affective arousal before the act, fascination, interest, curiosity or attraction to the fire and its situational context, pleasure, gratification or relief when setting the fires, and there will be no monetary gain as an expression of socio-political ideology, or to conceal a criminal activity, or to express anger or vengeance, to improve one's living circumstances, or in response to a delusion or hallucination, or as a result of impaired treatment. And the 5 setting is not better explained by conduct disorder, manic episode, or antisocial personality disorder. Course begins in childhood and the typical age of onset is unknown. When onset is in adolescence or adulthood, the 5 setting tends to be deliberately destructive, more than the childhood 5 setting. It is episodic and may wax and wane in frequency. Prognosis for treated children is good and complete remission is a realistic goal in children. But prognosis for adults is guarded because they frequently deny their actions and refuse to take responsibility and are dependent on alcohol or they might lack insight. Treatment difficulty because of their lack of motivation. No single treatment has been proved effective. Thus, a number of modalities, including behavioral approaches, and should be tried. Because of the recurrent nature, any treatment program should include supervision of the patients to prevent a repeated episode of 5 setting. In children and adolescents, treatment should include family therapy. The next one is the trichotillomania. It is characterized by noticeable hair loss due to recurrent failure to resist impulses to pull out their hair. Prevalence 0.6 to 3.4%. Male to female ratio is 1:9, where females are more than males. 33 to 40% of patients chew or swallow their hair that they pull out, and out of them, 37.5% develop potentially hazardous disorders, known as trichodisorders. And comorbid conditions like other OCD found between significant comorbidities found between trichotillomania and OCD, as well as other anxiety disorders. Tourette syndrome and comorbid substance use disorders is not encountered as frequently as it is in pathological gambling. Etiology: disturbances in mother-child relationships. Depressive dynamics are often cited as predisposing factors, and family members of trichotillomania patients often have a history of tics, impulse control disorders, and obsessive compulsive disorders. Course and prognosis: mean age of onset is early teens, mostly before the age of 17. Course is not well known, but both chronic and remitting forms occur. An early onset tends to remit more readily and responds to suggestion, support, and behavioral strategies. Late onset, that is after the age of 13, is associated with an increased likelihood of chronicity and poorer prognosis. Treatment: psychotherapy and pharmacological therapies are available. In psychotherapy, habit reversal therapy is most effective first-line treatment. Acceptance and commitment therapy along with habit reversal therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy are helpful. As in pharmacological management, it includes topical steroids and hydroxyzine hydrochloride applied to the hair. And naltrexone up to 50 mg per day, olanzapine up to 10 mg per day over 12 weeks. And patients who respond poorly to SSRIs may improve with augmentation with pimozide, a dopamine receptor antagonist. Impulse control disorders not otherwise specified, that is compulsive buying, dermatopilomania, internet addiction, compulsive sexual behavior, mobile phone compulsions. Compulsive buying, it is originally referred to as oniomania and recognized by Emil Kraepelin and Eugene Blair. Compulsive buying is not listed as a separate diagnostic criteria in any of the classifications. Etiology: psychodynamic theories are implicated, low self-esteem, anxiety, and need to reduce stress as a positive factor. Comorbid conditions like other impulse control disorders can be seen, kleptomania, mood disorders, and also OCD. Course and prognosis: onset would be around 18 years. However, patients do not seek treatment until their 30s, usually because they have developed serious financial problems. Patients often try to limit their behavior but are unsuccessful in doing so. Treatment would be compulsive buying. Compulsive buying is difficult. Some patients are helped with supportive therapy and self-help groups such as Debtors Anonymous. Pharmacological therapies include antidepressants, anxiolytics, and antipsychotics to treat the comorbid condition. SSRIs have been found helpful to limit compulsive behavior and may be of use in this condition which has compulsive aspects. Internet compulsion, also known as internet addiction. Patterns of use are repetitive and constant, and they are unable to resist strong urges to use the computer or to surf the web. Internet addicts may gravitate to certain sites that meet specific needs. Griffith has given 5 criteria for internet addiction, that is salience, mood modification, tolerance, withdrawal symptoms, and relapse. Salience is using the internet dominates the person's life, feelings, and behavior. Mood modification is person experiences changes in mood while using the internet. Tolerance, increased amounts of internet is needed to achieve the same effects of mood changes. And withdrawal symptoms, if the person stops using the internet, may have unpleasant feelings or physical effects. Relapse, the addict tends to relapse into earlier patterns of behavior even after years of abstinence. Next one is dermatillomania, also known as neurotic excoriation, pathological skin picking, compulsive skin picking, or psychogenic excoriation. An impulsive control disorder characterized by repeated urge to pick at one's own skin, often to the extent of causing damage. It's an uncontrollable urge to pick one's skin in order to seek gratification. Prevalence is 1.4 to 5.4% and more common in females than in males. It is a coping mechanism to deal with elevated levels of arousal or stress within the individual, and that individual has an impaired stress response. According to psychosocial theory, picking behavior is the result of repressed rage felt towards the authoritarian parents. Comorbid conditions like mood and anxiety disorders, substance abuse, trichotillomania, anxiety disorders, major depressive disorders, OCDs, and body dysmorphic disorders can be seen. And treatment, pharmacotherapy with fluoxetine, SSRIs, non-pharmacological treatment like habit reversal therapy. Next one is compulsive sexual behavior. So repeatedly seek out sexual gratification, often in perverse ways. Examples like exhibitionism. It's unable to control their behavior and may not experience feelings of guilt after an episode of acting out behavior. There is a pattern of failure to control intense sexual impulses or urges, and resulting repetitive sexual behaviors is manifested over an extended period of time. The time period should be around 6 months or more than 6 months to diagnose a condition, and causes marked distress or significant impairment in person's family, social, and occupational no standard treatment has been available. Imaginal desensitization, aversion therapy, group therapy, and psychodynamic psychotherapy can be given. Treatment with SSRIs, medroxyprogesterone acetate will be helpful. Mobile phone compulsion. Some persons compulsively use mobile phones to call others, friends, acquaintances, or business associates. They justify their need to contact others by giving plausible reasons for calling, but underlying conflicts may be expressed in the behavior, such as fear of being alone, need to satisfy unconscious dependence needs, or undoing a hostile wish towards a loved one. Next one is the gaming disorder. It has been newly added to ICD-11 and placed in the group of disorders due to addictive behaviors. Besides gaming disorders, ICD-11 also features hazardous gaming, an ancillary category used to identify problematic gaming which does not rise to the level of the disorder. It features, DSM-5 also features the same category called internet gaming disorder. Next one is onychophagia, chronic nail biting, usually seen in children and young adults, and the habit decreases by 18 years of age. Leads to severe damage to the cuticles and nails, and may cause secondary bacterial infections. Disruptive behavior and dissocial disorders, a special category added in the ICD-11, where it includes oppositional defiant disorder and conduct dissocial disorder, which has not been divided in ICD-10 and DSM-5. Oppositional defiant disorder is a persistent pattern of markedly defined, disobedient, provocative, or spiteful behavior. Time period should be 6 months or more, and occurs more frequently than is typically observed in individuals of comparable age and developmental level. Not restricted to interaction with their siblings. Next one would be the conduct dissocial disorder. It is characterized by repetitive and persistent pattern of behavior in which the basic rights of others or major age-appropriate societal norms, rules or laws are violated. Behavior pattern is of sufficient severity to result in significant impairment in personal, family, social, educational, occupational or other important areas, and is observed in Parkinson's disease patients. Conclusion: there is evidence in neurobiology shows involvement of reward pathway, including ventromotor prefrontal cortex, orbitofrontal cortex, and striatum, in all impulse control disorders similar to substance use disorders. Trichotillomania, skin picking, resemble obsessive compulsive related disorders, but pathological gambling, other new additions like compulsive sexual behavior, compulsive buying, internet addiction, food addiction, exercise addiction, resemble substance abuse disorders, reflecting the progress in understanding of these conditions. Proposed changes in ICD-11 and DSM-5 reflects the better understanding and progress in research among these conditions, which including trichotillomania, skin picking in obsessive compulsive related disorders, intermittent exposure disorder by DSM-5 in disruptive impulse and conduct disorders, and including pathological gambling in substance and addictive disorders by DSM-5. References: Keplon's and Sharrock's synopsis, DSM-5, ICD-10, 11 and other research articles. Impulse control disorders in Parkinson's disease, clinical characteristics and implications, gambling disorder and other behavioral addictions, recognition and treatment, neurobiology and genetics of impulse control disorders, relationships of drug addictions and pharmacological treatments.